A mother goes into her son's room to wake him up on Shabbos morning. I don't want to get up, he says. But you have to get up, you have to go to shul, says his mom as she pulls the blanket off of him. He pulls the blanket back and turns over to go back to sleep. She insists again, you have to get up and go to shul. Give me one good reason, says her son. The mother calmly answers, I'll give you two. First of all, you're 45 years old. And second of all, you're the rabbi of the shul. This would never happen in my household, mainly because my wife wakes me up on Shabbos morning. But I can tell you that I didn't need her or my mom to drag me out of bed this morning, because I've had this date circled on my calendar for a long time now. And I'm not the only one. This is a big day for all of us. Last Shabbat was part one of the sermon. Rabbi Wahlberg delivered his final sermon as the senior rabbi of Beth Tfiloh. And as he has been throughout this process, Rabbi Wahlberg was gracious and supportive and loving in handing the shul over to me. He even gave me his chief rabbi black hat. I am grateful for all that he's done for Beth Tfiloh and for me, now and always, and will pay him tribute at Spotlight later this year. Today's sermon is part two, my first as senior rabbi. It feels a bit like we've been talking about this day for years. Well, we have. It was back in September 2019 that the shul voted me, unanimously I might add, to succeed Rabbi Wahlberg as the rabbi of Beth Tfiloh upon his stepping into the role of rabbi in residence. So officially, this transition has been going on for at least 2.5 years, and deservedly so, because this is fairly monumental. For Beth Tfiloh, today is the first time in over 43 years that Rabbi Wahlberg is not the senior rabbi of Beth Tfiloh. I don't have to tell you how significant that is for Beth Tfiloh. And for me, this is my 12th year at Beth Tfiloh. I've been here as your associate rabbi for my entire career in the rabbinate. So this is a big change for me as well. This transition, thoughtful and deliberate, may be one of the smoothest rabbinic transitions in history. It's been cordial, respectful, loving, simply a blessing. And we're in good company, because as we see in our Parshat this morning, even Moshe's installation as the rabbi of Bnei Yisrael, of the Jewish people, was a process. It didn't happen all at once. In fact, by taking a close look at how Moshe was initiated by Hashem, we can learn something important about rabbis and their communities. We all know the scene well. Moshe is a shepherd. Hashem comes to Moshe. Ani Hashem, I am the Lord. I appear to Abraham and Yitzchak and Yaakov. I've heard the crying out of the Israelites because the Egyptians are enslaving them. And I've remembered my covenant. And I'm going to take them out of Egypt and bring them to the land of Israel. This is all familiar to us. And you could picture the scene when Hashem is saying this to Moshe. Correct? Moshe is standing next to what famous object? The burning bush, right? Wrong. That was in last week's Parsha. It's okay that you weren't paying attention, because that was still on Rabbi Wahlberg's watch. The quote that I gave you, though, is not from when Hashem came to Moshe the first time at the burning bush. This quote comes from our Parsha today. For the second time, Hashem gives Moshe an inaugural address. It's the second time that Hashem is charging Moshe to be the rabbi. He's already told this to Moshe at the burning bush, which begs the question, why this entire speech for a second time. Why this process? Rabbi Yonatan Grossman, associate professor in the departments of Bible at Bar Ilan and Herzog College in Israel, has a brilliant analysis of these two episodes. I'm not going to go through his entire analysis, but I do want to tell you that it is worth reading. His main thesis is that if you look closely, you'll notice one major difference between the two episodes. At the burning bush, the first time that Hashem appears to Moshe, the entire focus is on the moral case for Hashem redeeming Bnei Yisrael. At the burning bush, Hashem says to Moshe, I have surely seen the plight of my people in Egypt, and I have heard their outcry because of their taskmasters. Yes, I have taken notice of their suffering. Hashem sees the plight, hears the outcry, and takes notice of the suffering. This is the message conveyed to Moshe at the burning bush. There is a moral imperative to help these vulnerable people. They're crying out, they're suffering. I, God, must redeem these people, and you, Moshe, as a moral person, must help. But at the burning bush, Hashem does not mention anything about the other reason he's redeeming these people. Separate from the moral argument, what's the other reason that Hashem must redeem these people? It's not because they're suffering. It's not because they're crying out. Hashem must redeem these people because of a covenant, a promise, a deal made between Abraham and Yitzchak and Yaakov and Hashem. This is not mentioned at the burning bush, but it is mentioned in our Parsha. The second time that Hashem charges Moshe with being our leader. Now, I'm not going to get into the reason that Hashem chooses to leave the covenant out at the burning bush, though Rav Grossman addresses this, and again, it's worth reading in its entirety. And it's not too long either, by the way. But what is clear is that there are two separate motivating factors to Moshe's leadership. In Rabbi Grossman's words, from this point on, Moshe leads the nation as God's agent with two concurrent responsibilities facing him, moral and national. The new leader now faces both the moral responsibility of saving a downtrodden people from the unjust oppression and cruelty of a foreign rule, and the national duty of bringing about the fulfillment of the promise to our forefathers. Moral and national. And this is what we can learn from Moshe's process of becoming the rabbi of the people of Israel. These two responsibilities are the two responsibilities a rabbi must fulfill to a congregation. On the one hand, a rabbi has a moral responsibility to the needs of the people. Just as Moshe took out a downtrodden nation from Egypt, so too must a rabbi help to lift people up in their times of pain. Reb Chaim of Brisk was known for his great Talmudic and halachic mind, but when he was asked what the role of the rabbi is, he answered, to redress the grievances of those who are abandoned and alone, to protect the dignity of the poor, and to save the oppressed from the hands of the oppressor. You know, when I went to rabbinical school, one of the great strengths of my yeshiva was that they were the first, and at that time, the only Orthodox rabbinical school to have a professional department for pastoral counseling. Rabbi Weiss understood from his many years in the rabbinate that rabbis today need to be trained in the psychology of helping people. If that was true 20 years ago, how much more so today? But as much as you can be trained in the science, you don't really get it until you experience it for yourself. I understand today the gravity of this responsibility in a way that I simply could not have when I started out as a rabbi. Everyone has a story. Everyone is pained with something. Everyone has fears and anxieties. Everyone has baggage that they are carrying around. And I also understand today, in a way that I could not have 12 years ago, the holy impact that a rabbi can have, that any of us can have, when we care enough to care. It doesn't make the problems go away, but it makes a difference. A rabbi must walk alongside his congregant in their time of pain. This is the moral responsibility the rabbi bears. But a rabbi is more than just this. After all, Moshe had his second inauguration. Moshe also took on the national duty of the people as well. The responsibility to the covenant, what it means to be a Jew, the religious, sacred duty of carrying on the mission that began with Abraham and Sarah and was passed generation to generation, all the way to all of us today. And I take this responsibility very seriously as well. We have a rich history here at Beth Tfiloh, and I don't take that lightly. It's my job to make sure that as we move forward, the religious integrity of Beth Tfiloh remains strong and ensures a future that's at least as bright as our past. It's my job to encourage, to challenge, to prod, to push all of you to be the best Jews that you can be. Rabbi David Wolpe compares this to a quarterback. He writes, I see the role of a rabbi or pastor in general sort of like the role of a quarterback who throws the ball a little bit ahead of the receiver. That is, you want to make people run just a bit to catch up to the message that you offer. I love this description of throwing the ball a little bit ahead. But when he said this, I don't think Rabbi Wolpe was thinking about the Ravens, where our quarterback is the best running quarterback in NFL history. I suppose that from Lamar Jackson we can learn that sometimes the rabbi also needs to just take the ball and run. But whether it's running, passing, or walking next to you, today I take on these responsibilities of a rabbi, moral and national. On a moral, personal level, I will continue to walk alongside you in your moments of challenge and difficulty. And I would add that I plan to enjoy walking alongside you in your moments of joy and simcha as well. Baruch Hashem, thank God, we do have a lot of fun here at Beth Tfiloh. And in the national religious realm, I will continue to make you run ahead to catch up to the ball. As I step into some rather large shoes, I have the advantage of 12 years of getting to know you already. So I know what I'm getting myself into. And there isn't another congregation out there that I'd rather quarterback than the one right here. Thank you for your support, for your confidence, and for your trust. I can't wait to see what the next 40 years bring. Shabbat Shalom.